some people have hobbies. This guy's hobby is community service. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. We're focused on saving babies together and the March of Dimes. And we're visiting with Nick Sherfesee, the chairman of the Horry County Board of Directors. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure. It's a little bit early.
It is. 7 o'clock's early for you, but you were up flying early in the morning normally.
I know it.
This was just a little earlier morning.
Just a little bit early,
yeah.
But it's for a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course, and virtually everything you're involved in, Nick's a good cause. You're involved in so many charities, obviously, but have stayed incredibly active for the March of Dimes.
March of Dimes right now has been my hot button for the last 2 or 3 years, and something that I've been very, very active in for a long time, Greg. Really like it a lot.
I think I saw you got active in the March of Dimes back in 1990.
Back in 1990 was my first walk where I participated, corporately, back in 1990 in Gainesville, Florida. Out there with all those university students.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Gainesville has been so well recognized with so many activities of the March of Dimes, and of course that rolled in real well when you came up to South Carolina.
Yeah, when I came here, our company had very little activity involved with it, and we decided we wanted to raise the bar. And so First Union at the time got very active in the March of Dimes, and we've just been building it ever since.
And First Union got active on a statewide level.
They did. They did. So we're really excited about that, and of course, because of my involvement with the board here, I sit on the state board of directors for the March of Dimes, which gives me an opportunity to see what's going on in other parts of the state, get all those great ideas from those other boards.
Yes, that's right.
And try to replicate them here. And it's a lot of fun.
You guys launched the Horry County Board how long ago, Dick?
It's going on, it's a little bit more than 2 years, actually. And we have a really active, involved board, and we're doing a lot of great things.
And, of course, the two staffers of the March of Dimes that work out of the Conway office are really, even though they're incredibly involved with the Horry County, it's the PD division.
If you want to talk about a great business model and how to have people do more than they're capable of doing, go over to our little office in Conway and watch Colleen and Joe.
Right.
I mean to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know how they support Marlboro and Marion and Georgetown and Myrtle Beach.
Dillon, Lake City, all those boards. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Colleen, and Colleen's a new addition to the group with Joe Fisher. She is incredible. And her husband Sterling, those two dynamic team.
Well, that's a team. They just do an awesome job. March of Dimes, as you know, Greg, is volunteer driven and staff supported. And but the support we receive from that staff in Conway is just awesome. But that's another good thing. We'd like to talk to everybody about and let them know that about what the March of Dimes really does is that for every dollar that is raised locally in this area for the March of Dimes, 92 cents go back in our programs locally to save babies.
92 cents of every dollar?
92 cents of every dollar. So we're not laden down with a lot of administrative costs.
That's where you say volunteer run and staff supported.
Staff supported, right.
Dick, real quick about yourself. For viewers who may not have caught you when you were with us at the Radisson or last year pumping up the chef's auction, or even back here a handful of months ago pumping up the walk, are you originally from the area?
No, I'm originally from Philadelphia.
Ooh, really?
Really.
Yeah. How long have you been down here now?
Well, I moved to South Carolina in 1961. And I promised my family I would go back for vacations and weddings and funerals. And I've kept my promise.
Back to Pennsylvania?
Back to Pennsylvania, New Jersey.
Yeah. I think I saw, doing a little research on you yesterday, trying to get ready for this morning, and saw your high school, 1961, your class. They had a reunion not too long ago, and it was some memories from back then. It was very exciting. I think it was a Lenape or
Lenape Regional High School.
That's right, which was great. To see a lot of your classmates there highlighting their childhood was very exciting.
Right. It doesn't seem like it was very long ago, but I guess it was. You talk about 40th reunion?
I
think I might have chosen not to go to that one. I'm not that old. So So
Yeah, that's right. Now, Nick, so you've been in the Palmetto State almost 45 years.
Well, no, I came down here in 1961, went to the Citadel, and lived in Charleston for a while, and then moved all over the country. I was with a financial services company out of London, England, called Barclays, and I lived in places like Louisiana and Georgia, and Ohio and Florida, and Colorado, and
lots of
back in Louisiana and Florida. So.
Now, growing up in the Philadelphia area, did you think you'd want to get into the financial services industry?
Always thought I wanted to do it.
Oh, come on.
I always wanted to.
Why?
I don't have no idea.
You just like playing with
My
money?
father was a CPA, and he used to complain about the bankers all the time. I said, well, if bankers are that bad, that's what I want to be.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe it was
yeah.
just to rebel against my dad.
Yeah. That's amazing. So banking, oftentimes you'll think about folks and just wonder. Yesterday, Banana Jack Murphy was with us, and he said at age 5, he said, I want to be that guy, which was a radio DJ song.
That's what I always wanted to be.
That's amazing. What is it about banking that really makes you feel good at the end of a day?
People. You get involved in a lot of situations, and, everybody wants to have the bankers say yes to every need and desire. But what we try to do is bring some expertise to come in and help folks through situations. Sometimes the best thing we can do is say no, but at least provide them some guidance and a way to go. As a profession, it seems a little silly to kind of draw it to the medical profession, but sometimes people come in with a problem and they feel like they want to cover it up with a Band-Aid, when in reality they need major surgery. So a lot of times coming in for that little loan or that little deposit cure that they're looking for, maybe they need a major overhaul. And that's our job as banking professionals, to sit there and try to figure out how we do that and what we can do to best serve our clients. At the end of the day, if someone's feeling better about their situation, or we've helped someone through tough times, or we've helped someone grow and get bigger and more profitable and more successful, that's what it's all about.
It's tough to say no, though, sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing I have to do every day. And I hope they don't have to say it too often.
Right.
But sometimes you do.
Yeah, let's hope not. But as you said, oftentimes it gives them the opportunity to go back and try to work on fixing their business, possibly turning it around, so they can come back and resubmit.
And then the great thing about Wachovia is we have this community bank model here where we act and feel like an awful lot like the other community banks in our town, so that we can really deal with the people here in this locale on the level that they need to be dealt with, rather than have someone in Charlotte or Washington, D.C. or New York.
Right. I have a
the
great
shots.
appreciation for community banks, and you were involved helping to launch a lot of community banks in the past.
Launched several down in Florida and ran a couple also. And we sold one, too, is kind of interesting. The last one I ran, we sold to South Trust. And our company just entered into a merger agreement with South Trust just a couple of weeks ago. So
that's right.
They're back.
Yeah, I know. That'll be interesting. It'll be fun for you to be able to look in the database to check out your old
customers. Yeah,
that's right.
That'd be fun.
That should be. Golly, Nick. Well, that's so exciting to think, of course, to have attended school down in Charleston, only a couple hours from here. Now, do you still get down there often? Are you involved in the Citadel alumni?
Very, very active in the local group, the Horry County Citadel Club, and I get down to as many functions at the school as I possibly can. Love Charleston, love the Citadel. When Kim and I were married in Charleston. We got married at the Summerall Chapel there in Charleston. Had our wedding reception and everything there. We love Charleston. We love Myrtle Beach more, but if I had to move, if someone made me, said, you've got to move, but you can go move anywhere you want to, I would move to Charleston.
Charleston would be the place.
Absolutely.
What's so great about Charleston?
It has everything except Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's cosmopolitan and a neat town. And, of course, family history. My dad's family goes back to 1810 in Charleston.
Is that right?
Right. So there's a lot of roots there.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's fascinating. Of course, part of the thrill today of having you, and even though you're the chairman of the Horry County Board, you are on the state board of the March of Dimes.
That's correct.
But of course, as we said, the Laurel Street office in Conway serves counties like Marlboro and Marion and Dillon, and it puts on events in those communities and in Lake City and in Georgetown.
Right.
So Joe and Colleen Shanley over there on Laurel Street are really doing a heck of a lot. Real quick, that phone number, if a viewer was interested, as we talk today, in any of those events, What's the best number to reach somebody?
488-DIME.
Okay.
488-3463.
843-488-3463.
Right.
Okay, perfect. Let's highlight some of those big events coming up, Nick. Obviously, part of the thrill was to talk a little bit, real quick, about the recent Horry County Walk and the success, a little overachievement of goal. How did that go? And share with the viewers.
It's going to be really interesting to see what our goal will be for next year because of what happened this year. But in 2003, our goal was not met. Our goal was $150,000, and we raised $111 in 2003. This year, we revamped the walk, brought in new leadership with Dennis Wade.
Oh, yeah.
And also with Bobby Kelly as the revenue chair. And between them and the help of the Myrtle Beach Women's Club, we raised over $200,000.
Come on.
We did.
200 grand?
200,000.
And didn't even hit 111 last year?
Yeah. It's amazing. And, you know, with Colleen being new and energetic and Joe hanging in there with us and working so hard, I mean, it was an awesome and incredible event.
That is incredible. What do you think made it so successful? You mentioned the Myrtle Beach Women's Club. Well, what do you think made it so successful?
It was just a lot of new energy that was brought to the table and some great organization with Dennis and Bobby.
Right.
And they met every week from I guess it was like October or November, and they met every week and made sure everyone was on task and everyone was doing what they were supposed to do. And then Bobby went ahead and had some friends in the Myrtle Beach Women's Club, and they had postponed their bash for this year, and they weren't going to have their annual bash, but they wanted to have a fundraiser. And then Coastal Grand Mall contacted us and asked us if we would like to have the grand opening gala there. And we didn't, because we only have 2 people, we didn't have the staff to do that. So Bobby contacted the Women's Club, and we split the proceeds from the gala at the new Coastal Grand Mall with the Women's Club.
Golly.
I think it was like $20,000 the Women's Club contributed to the March of Dimes.
That is fantastic. Well, they commit all the time. Of course, we highlighted Gail and some of the others. They really worked so hard on that event. So many of the ladies working so hard to make that a success. And of course, Coastal Grand Mall, that premiere gala was amazing.
It was a great night.
It was very well done, both for the March of Dimes as well as so many who attended. Let's talk real quick. So many of the activities, Nick, come on. And of course, Dennis Wade, I think you said, not only for this past year, he's lined back up for next year as long as Colleen's around.
That's right. He raised his hand. He said, I'll do it again, but only if Colleen stays around. So Colleen's staying, and Dennis is going to do it again.
That's very exciting.
So we're looking for another really great year next year.
What's the March of Dimes all about, Nick?
Well, the March of Dimes started back in the 30s. President Roosevelt was concerned at the time with the growing incidence of infantile paralysis, polio, and started a campaign where people could send in dimes to the White House to help find a cure for polio. Then this volunteer organization was formed to go ahead and coordinate that, and over the years it grew and grew and grew and to what it is today. Of course, a dime back in 1934 was a lot more money than a dime today. I mean, that would be more like $1. But all this money came into the White House. One of the neat things about the March of Dimes is that in 1954, they met their goal. They found a cure for polio with the Salk vaccine, and all of a sudden they turned around and said, our mission we've accomplished, but we have all these volunteers. What are we going to do with them? Mm-hmm. Are we going to disband this great organization, or are we going to make it into something special? And they went ahead and looked around and said, we've always dealt with children and their needs, particularly as it related to polio. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to go ahead and find birth defects and work with prematurity causes and other things like that. And they have continued to work along those lines to do things to help improve babies' lives.
Mm-hmm. That work of saving babies together is constant. That mission really started in the 30s, albeit under a different push, but has maintained.
Under polio. It's one of the few volunteer organizations that actually have met and achieved their goal and continue on to do something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Of course, you and I both know a lot about the Heart Association, and of course their goal is just to reduce incidences of heart disease and stroke. Wiping it out entirely, pretty tough thing to do, but surely to reduce it dramatically.
I think they are projecting that this year or next year that polio worldwide will be eradicated.
Is that right? That would be
That's,
special.
of course, March of Dimes formed a partnership with Rotary International years ago, and after they had whooped here in the United States, then the Rotary picked it up and went on a worldwide eradication campaign.
The prematurity campaign is something the March of Dimes really wrapped around. How long ago, Nick, to work?
Actually, that's been on the back burner for a few years, but it's been about 3 years ago where it really came out and said, this is our emphasis. This is where we want to go right now. It's kind of disturbing, Greg, that one baby out of every 8 is born prematurely. Mm-hmm. And the situation is, it's growing. Instead of everybody finding out what's going on with the prematurity, we don't know what the problem is. And there is more prematurity now than there was 3 years ago. More incidences of it, a greater percentage of it. And it's just this mystery, and March of Dimes has marshaled its efforts and its funds and its sources, research sources and other things, to go out and try to find out what is causing prematurity. And then once we can identify that, then we can go out and try to find something that can slow it down or eradicate it.
I assume the numbers are similar in North Carolina, probably even larger, but I think I saw that 149 children, babies born each week in South Carolina, are born prematurely.
That's about right.
What are some of the health risks that prematurely born children would face?
Well, first off, I mean, their little organs and things are just not developed enough where they can do simple things like breathe. There can be brain damage. There can be all sorts of problems. Mm-hmm. Or the fact that they're just too small and they just can't make it on their own. Mm-hmm. The NICUs back in the 60s, when they were first started, their mortality rates, and this is some good news, their mortality rates were like 80% of every child that went in there, every premature child or sick child. Now they're down to like 10%.
Really?
Well, that's good. But the fact is, we're still having more babies born prematurely every year, and we don't know why. Mm-hmm. So we're working on it.
Absolutely. And of course, that mission being a constant one, it means getting the word out is that much more important on a constant basis.
We have to consistently go out and talk to people about it, and March of Dimes has done a very good job of publicizing it nationwide.
There were some really successful spring walks, obviously talking about Horry County's amazing overachievement, the Lake City Walk, the Dillon Walk. Of course, Georgetown had a very successful, or at least met their goals, I think, across the board. How about some of the big events coming up this fall?
We've got some great things coming up. We've starting in, I'm going to look at my notes here for just a second.
Right.
Rides for Babies on October the 17th.
Okay.
And this is a motorcycle, Harley-Davidson type event, but it doesn't have to be Harley. You can bring your Goldwing if you want to.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a ride for babies, and it's going to start at the Inlet Square Mall.
Right.
It'll go to Greasy's up in Aner, and then HD Spokes in North Myrtle Beach, or Longs.
It'll end up in Longs. Fantastic.
Right.
Sure.
And so it's going to cover the whole Grand Strand, and this is an opportunity for folks that want to ride for babies. It's like the Walk America, Greg, except it's on a motorcycle.
Are you getting on yours, Nick?
No.
Kim, maybe?
No, we're not going to do the motorcycle.
This is Sunday.
We'll be there to cheer you off and to wave you back in.
To wave you back in.
Long. I don't think that we're going to be on the bus.
Yeah. This is Sunday, October 17th.
That's correct.
Now, how do they raise funds for that event? Is that all sponsorship driven?
They sell sponsorships. They sell tickets. And the bikers can do like the walkers do. They can go ahead and go out and raise money from their friends and neighbors and associates and everything to sponsor them on the ride. Mm-hmm. And that's what we'd like to see them do. We have a goal this year of $25,000, I believe.
I think it may be 45.
Excuse me, I lied. That's right. It's 45,000. It was 25 when we first started 3 years ago. But it's going to be $45,000 this year. And we need some help from any of our watchers and viewers who ride bikes or have companies where there's a lot of bikers involved. Mm-hmm. Let's get those folks out there.
Absolutely. From Laurinburg to Lake City, or obviously from Marlboro to Marion counties. Folks can travel down from Hartsville that day straight down to Inlet Square Mall, which is on the southern end of Horry County on 17 bypass or business. And they'll be traveling from there to Aner, and then back down kind of in a triangle pattern to HD spokes there and longs.
It should be a fun afternoon.
Yeah.
And our event last year was very well received. We had a lot of fun, had a lot of riders, and we just need more and more of them.
Absolutely. And folks can be involved whether they ride or not by donating or being sponsors. How about, I think the next weekend you've got another big event coming up.
Talking about the 2004 Signature Chef's Auction?
Yeah, please share with the viewers a little about the Chef's Auction.
This is a black tie optional event that is one of our largest fundraisers each year. We have worked very closely with Kim Lloyd over the years, who used to be with Thoroughbreds. Now she's down at Polly's Plantation.
That's right.
And Kim arranges 14 to 16 of the finest chefs on the Grand Strand and puts together this wonderful dinner, fine dining, entertainment, and auctions, live and silent, and it's just a fun evening. It will be held at the Radisson Convention Center Hotel this year. And, you know, Kim is always going to bring in the very best chefs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, last year, what did we have in there? We had Vidalia's, we had Thoroughbreds, we had Flavors, we just had these wonderful restaurants all being represented.
And for the viewer who may not have attended that event in the past, all the chefs come in and they prepare their own specialty dishes.
They prepare their dishes, and it's a gourmet dish of some sort, and it's all coordinated through Kim, so she makes sure that we don't all have the same thing. And it's one of their signature dishes. And then after we have the dinner, the dinner's like a buffet, so that as you're bidding on the silent auction, you can be eating as you go, or you can go ahead and sit down at your table and dine, and then go back to the silent auction pieces. But it's a wonderful evening. It's always a lot of fun. It's not a late night, so if you have children in school, I mean, you still get home at a reasonable hour, so you can get to bed and get up the next morning.
That's on a Tuesday, which is great. Also, there was a presentation last year, I believe, from the ambassador baby and his family.
Right.
Which is very important and really moving.
It's always very moving, but at the same time, that kind of sets the tone for folks realize that we're serious about raising money to help find a cure for these things that are causing all this devastation for our babies.
That is Tuesday, October 26th. So if you were maybe interested either donating an item or getting involved to be out there buying a ticket that night, or obviously being a sponsor, could call the 488-3463 number.
That's correct.
Talk to Colleen or Joe, or even give you a call at Wachovia to find out more.
That's right.
How about, I think right before that and right after that, there's two walks. On the 23rd, the Marion Walk.
The Marion Walk is October the 23rd, and the chair is going to be Johnny Floyd from Anderson Brothers Bank.
Right.
And so all of you up there that know, and Mr. Floyd, and all you Anderson Brothers Bank customers, you need to go out and support him. And then the revenue chair is Pete Mulford
at Marion Regional Medical.
That's
right. Superstar.
And then on the 30th, Coach Dean Boyd of Marlton County High School is the chair for the Marlboro Walk. And the revenue chair is Mark Canton. He's the CEO of the Marlboro Park Hospital.
Absolutely.
So they're two exciting events, and we always have so much fun at those events. Those folks in those communities really get behind the March of Dimes.
They really do a great job. And overachieve their goals, much like the Horry County Walk down here, and it is spectacular.
No, and that's Joe Fisher's love. I mean, she would rather be up there with those folks. I mean,
know. She was in Marion last week meeting with Johnny and meeting with Lakeisha Jennings over there at Walmart, and really working it constantly to try to get as much support to make that a successful
And those folks
event.
up there just love her. I mean, she's so much fun anyway.
Nick, we got 2 minutes, and obviously we've got another big event the 1st of December, the Real Estate Breakfast, an annual event to highlight the honorees this year.
Are Billy Offord and Danny Isaac with A&I Fire and Water Restoration. These guys have done so much for the community over the years. I mean, what project, anything can you think of that Billy Offord didn't have something to do with? He's either been out front or quietly working behind the scenes, but he's one of our community leaders, and then Danny has been there supporting all of those activities throughout the years too. And I just think it's a great way to honor some folks that have given so much to our community and also help us raise some money for the March of Dimes.
Absolutely. And speaking of March of Dimes, Nick, what do you like best about what you're doing with the March of Dimes?
We can see tangible results. we see our money coming back home, and it's all about taking care of and saving babies together.
Nick, if you weren't currently the community banker with Wachovia here in Horry County and I guess up and down the Strand, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd be volunteering for someone. You know, that I mentioned once before, a little quote that I've heard you use before. What was it, Greg?
No, it came out of your mouth, Nick. I'm giving you attribution for it. What is that?
Oh, my goodness. You know, my work is being a banker. My avocation is being a banker, but my real work is volunteering for the community. I love it here, and I love being able to work to do better things in our community and make a better place to live.
Absolutely. Nick, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Nick Sherfesee coming up next. In South Carolina, about 2,000 babies are born annually with major birth defects. About 18 will die before their first birthday, one of the worst percentages in the nation. It's Nick Sherfesee's efforts, as he talked about, being able to see tangible results of the community service, saving babies together. You heard him talk about it. Some people have hobbies. His hobby is community service. Nick Sherfesee, thanks for what you do.